You're running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. You got your man Hondo here. We're live Thursday, December 18th. And here's the setup today in plain English. We finally got CPI back on the calendar after the shutdown chaos, and the number came in much cooler than expected. That's the single biggest reason why futures are higher this morning. Now, I do want to frame today correctly before we get carried away. It's not a we won, the inflation is dead kind of CPI. It's a CPI report with some missing pieces. It's like getting a puzzle box where the picture looks great, but then you realize the manufacturer forgot to include a few of the pieces. But even an imperfect report can move markets because markets don't trade perfection. They trade direction and narrative. So today, our game plan should be simple. CPI, what it says, what it does not say, and why it still matters. We'll talk about rates, what the bond market is signaling, and what the Fed watch odds are telling traders. We'll take a look at the equity leaders, Micron lighting the AI trade back up, and why semis matter to the whole tape. The IPO window has reopened Medline's monster debut and what it tells us about risk appetite. The what in the world file, Trump media merging with a nuclear fusion company. That's real. I can't even believe I'm saying that. And then I'll close with what to watch into the cash open, what can break the bullish case, and what would we look for to confirm it. So let's get into it all. Getting ready here to look. S&P up now about 82 basis points after CPI data came out and still moving to the upside. NASDAQ, we do see, again, up 1.43%. So, and it is good to see S&P finally breaking through that 50-day SMA. Good morning there, Ida. Hope you're doing well this morning. All right, so this is the first CPI report released after the government shutdown disruptions, and it matters because it re-anchors the entire conversation around the Fed. The headline numbers are CPI 2.7% year over year, core CPI 2.6% year over year. Both came in below what economists were looking for. 3.1 was the estimate. So now before you celebrate, let me give you some caveats that matter. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has been very clear that due to the shutdown and due to missing October's data, the CPI release does not include all of the usual month-over-month comparisons. That is a big deal because a lot of traders rely on month-over-month trend lines for reacceleration or cooling signals. So here's the way to think about it. The report's like checking your speed. You can still tell if you're going fast or slow, but you might not have the same precision you did. I see Mr. Flanagan's got a comment here. There you go, Mr. Flanagan. I love it. I love it. But markets, especially short-term markets, do what markets do. They see cooler inflation and they immediately price in more room for rate cuts. So that's how we got this nice pop in futures. And that's the story of the morning. As Flanagan said, inflation cooler, yield slipping, risk on breathes. So now let's talk about why it matters for your money. Because CPI is not just an inflation report. It's the input that drives the cost of capital, equity valuations, earning multiples, mortgage rates, consumer credit, and frankly, how aggressive investors feel. So if CPI is trending down, even with the caveats, you got to say it's risk on, buddy. So that's the way I'm looking at it so far. We like I said, S&P briefly paused right at that 50-day MA, but once it broke through it, that gives it a lot of upside here. Same thing, you can see what I was pointing out on the cues the other day here. It's playing out pretty nicely to that direction now, so we love what we're seeing here. If we can get a break back above the highs of the morning, watch out above got a little bit of resistance, but room to 614. And then some of the other ones before we get started, I'm watching for a run here on Tesla, maybe up as high as 500 a day. If that gets some legs, Micron on its news, definitely mooning here. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. Up about 15% here, 260. Look out above. So huge move by Micron, up 15% here today. And that's got all the chip sector moving to the upside. So again, so far so good on crypto. We'll say it's made a move, stalling out at 89 though, definitely hitting more resistance than the equities so far. If we can't make a break above 90,900, that is the area you want to look to maybe lighten your load if you just bought in at 85. I know I will be. I've already set a sell order at 90,750 here for that little, make it a little swing trade. But we'll see what we get across it. Same thing, Ethereum. Can it break back above 3024? If it doesn't, it means we are still very bearish across the crypto sector. So keep an eye there. Robinhood, another one. We're looking for a strong move up about 5% here, 121.82. It's making a strong move to the upside, and all of the data center names are running hot today, led by Core Scientific up about 6.56%. IREN up another 5% here today. TerraWolf up 5%. So we are seeing a big move across that. All of the mag or mega caps are moving to the upside so far. NVIDIA up 2%. Microsoft on watch here, up 77 basis points here. Blasted off its 200-day SMA and now making a move to the upside. So you got to love that. Apple up slightly. Google, Amazon, both up over 1.5%. Netflix and Meta are a little bit of the laggards here too. Looking at the sectors of the S&P before we get started, a little bit of a mixed bag. Energy getting hit here today, down about 23 basis points, but that's after a strong 2.5% move to the upside yesterday. We do see XLP, which is consumer staples, down slightly, and then healthcare down a little bit. I did notice UNH was driving that downward move, it looked like. The rest of the sectors are so far set to open in the green. Overseas overnight, we saw the Nikkei pick up after that news came out at 8:30, now up almost a 0.5 percentage point on the day. Hong Kong up slightly, about 10 basis points. And even the news here in the U.S. driving the stocks, European stocks up a little bit, 41 basis points to the north. DXY not getting an explosive move one way or the other, still sort of range trading in between yesterday's highs and lows at 98.25. Not a real big move there. I did see the UK did change their rates. They did lower their rates. So we do see that is moving about a 0.5 percentage point in relationship to the dollar. But that's the big mover on currencies so far. And if we take a look, advanced decline has really shot up, was in the 1700 area, or excuse me, the 1000 area until 8:30 or so, and then really took off from there. So this is showing some market breadth. It's not just one or two things up. We can see a bunch of things start moving. Tick still staying positive here. You can see it shot up at 8:30 and it's been staying up around 250 to 300. So not a huge run to buy, but we are seeing a steady stampede, I would call it personally. Gold off of yesterday's highs down a little bit. Silver holding above 66 here. Man, that thing is just strong, strong, strong. And copper, which had a strong day yesterday, pulling back slightly today right now. Oil down about 1 percentage point here also. So that's what we're looking at there. Gainers and losers might have changed now. When I was earlier, I got to talk a little bit about it. DJT, this is one I wasn't expecting to say today. DJT has merged or is merging with TAE Technologies. a nuclear fusion company in an all-stock deal valued at over $6 billion. Yes, that's real, and I want to handle this professionally because there are two ways to cover it. Way number one, treat it like a meme and move on. And way number two, treat it like a symbol of something bigger happening in the market. I think it's a little bit of both. On the surface, it's one of the stranger combinations. You'll see a social media company merging with Fusion Tech. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but underneath it ties directly into the most important theme of the next 5 years. AI needs power, right? Data centers are power hungry. AI training is power hungry, and the US is staring at power constraints. So fusion, nuclear energy infrastructure, these aren't fringe topics anymore. They're becoming core strategic issues. Does this deal make fusion solid? Of course not, but it shows that the market will pay attention and pay up when you attach a story to the AI power narrative. So the way I translate this for you folks is it's another example of the AI industrial complex spreading into everything: chips, power, utilities, energy storage, and even speculative frontier tech like fusion. So whether you love it or hate it, it's part of the macro conversation here for sure. I'm going to take a quick look at the laggards, see if they are still lagging. They are. So Instacart down pretty big after an FTC is probing their pricing, especially on its AI tool, Eversight, which has led to price differences of up to 23% for identical items. So Instacart claims not many retailers are using the tool, so it's not a big deal, but we'll see how it goes there. Lennar, the house or home builder, still under pressure today, off of the lows, but still down another 1.36%. After seeing multiple downgrades, with RBC Capital lowering its target to $95, Bank of America also at 95, and Evercore reducing it to 92, trading at 110 right now. So still above those figures, but definitely under pressure. Accenture had earnings today. It underwhelmed, and the fear that AI could really be hurting their business has them down about 3.32%. They did have positive earnings report, but they did mark a 22% decline for the year due to worries over federal spending cuts and the IT sector uncertainty. Other laggards today, we still see Halliburton and some of the defense stocks getting hit. I mentioned in a little earlier, UNH was down about a half a percentage point. That was after they said they expect ACA enrollment to fall by 2/3 due to rising premiums, which may more than double by 2026, raising concerns about coverage drops as consumers reassess options. So again, that K-shaped economy showing its ugly head there. And then we do see PayPal getting hit here, down about 1.31%. Not much news here. I guess my takeaway here is that maybe SoFi stealing away a little bit here. SoFi did announce that they have launched their stable coin, and being the first chartered bank to do so puts them in a little bit of a head start. We know PayPal just got its approval to be a federally chartered trust, but has not fully been accepted into the banking industry yet. So we do see SoFi up 3.36% here this morning on that news. And again, it is SoFi USD, a US dollar stablecoin backed by SoFi Bank's cash reserves, enables 24/7 settlement for payments, remittances, and purchases. So again, SoFi first mover advantage. Love to see it. Okay, we're going to take a quick 30-second commercial break here while I grab a quick touch of coffee.
Are you an online educator struggling to find your audience? Quasar Markets connects you with learners looking for you. Keep 100% ownership of your courses. No hidden fees. Already have monetized content? Get paid again and again. Apply today. Take control of your educational empire. Quasar Markets, where educators build their legacy.
Okay, now let's get into the headline stock of the morning. Micron, they reported a big beat, more importantly, strong guidance. The key numbers that were discussed was their EPS win here, up about 20% versus their estimate. So estimates were at just under $4, came in at $4.60 standardized. And then when it came to top line revenue here at 13.64 billion, up from that 12.91 street estimate. So they definitely overperformed there. Guidance was at a midpoint around 18.78 for the upcoming quarter, well above what the street was expecting again. And the market reaction was immediate. It ripped higher in the post market, ripped higher in the pre market. Now, what does Micron matter beyond Micron? It matters because memory, especially high bandwidth memory used in AI servers, is an absolute choke point right now. And what I'm saying there is the CEO brought up that they will not be able to meet their delivery needs this year, that they can't build them fast enough, right? So if you want to run the AI boom, you need the inputs, you need chips, you need memory, you need power, you need data centers, and you need the ability, as we know from Oracle's problems right now, to finance that CapEx. Micron's print is the market saying, okay, the demand is real. The AI spending cycle is still alive, and that matters because the market was just spooked by AI CapEx fear headlines, again, headlined by Oracle and the issues they had with Blue Owl and trying to put financing together for a Michigan-based data center. This week, part of that weakness in tech was about it. Are we spending too much on data centers? Are the economics real? Is the return on invested capital going to disappoint? Micron's strength doesn't erase the CapEx debate, but it stabilizes the narrative for sure. And in markets, narrative stability is a tradable event. Now, if you're watching the semis broadly, this one is one of those sessions you definitely want to keep your eyes on. Does Micron lift the entire complex? And that does look like, at this point, what we're seeing. All of the major chip makers are moving to the upside. I was watching Marvell here a little bit, was on watch for me as they were following. They were one of the ones following the most, up about 3.5%. If MU rallies, but the other semis don't follow, that would be a little bit of caution. But if the whole complex follows as they are now, that's definitely a risk on confirmation. And for the audience, I'll put it this way. Semis are the heartbeat of this market. If semis are strong, the market usually has a pulse. If semis are weak, the market starts to look like they need a defibrillator. That's why this matters so much. So nice move up. We'll see if it can hold here. Watch it on this short-term chart right now. So it would have been an inflection point remaining above that key VWAP here at 254.76 is the key to keep an eye on. Does look like we're seeing a little bit of market fade here across the board. So definitely keeping an eye on it. Crypto getting hit pretty hard here right now. Tick still positive and breadth continues to increase, but the individual early morning winners look to be giving back a little bit of that strength here so far. Other winners so far this morning, SanDisk up about 8% here. Lululemon on talk of Elliott taking a activist investor stake in the company, up about 8% here this morning. Coming in on key resistance there at 230, which matches right up with its 200-day simple moving average. One of Western Digital up on that news and Micron business, so up about 5.73% here. Same thing. We see Seagate Technology up about 4.67. We mentioned some of the data center names. Core Scientific up about 7.22. GE Verona, which is a nuclear play, up about 5.26 on that DJT news. And here's one for you. Darden had a strong quarter here, increased its annual sales growth to 8.5 to 9.3% from 7.5 to 8.5%, strong due to strong demand for its casual dining chain. So nice move up by the Chili's folks I mean, they own a lot of different things there, but Darden up again and above its 200-day MA, definitely making a strong move. Could look to fill this gap all the way up towards 207 here, so still has room to the upside here. We are about 7 minutes from the open. Do also want to bring up yesterday's darling, which was Medline. And we can see yesterday up as high as 41.25, now trading right around, it looks like 39.02. But Medline was the biggest IPO of the year, had a huge first day. Reported stats, IPO came in at $29, although you can see it opened just below $35 at $34.89, closed around $41, up 41% from the IPO price, and it's being framed as the largest U.S. listing since Rivian back in 2021, puts its market cap at right around $33 billion. Why does it matter? IPOs are definitely a confidence vote in the market. When the IPO window is open, institutions are willing to take risk. Underwriters can distribute and markets can absorb supply. When IPOs are failing, it's definitely a risk off warning sign. It suggests that liquidity is tightening. It suggests buyers are defensive. So Medline's strong debut suggests demand is there for quality and scaled businesses. Now, does that mean the whole market is healthy? Not necessarily. It means there's still appetite when the deal is large enough and perceived as durable. So today, Medline is basically a thermometer reading on risk appetite. And right now, the thermometer says investors are not hiding under their bed. They are looking for strong companies to invest in. Let's see what else we have going on here so far across our major stuff. VIX has moved back down here this morning to about 16.67 after that CPI data came out. So volatility index does move back down to a more neutral number. It had been up around 18, so slightly elevated. So we did see that. ASTS continues to see some strength today after having a really tough day yesterday. It has recovered a good portion of those lost. Broadcom off of the lows, now up 3% here today, so that's recovering a little bit here. Disney stalling out at that 110 area. FedEx goes into earnings today. It is up about 0.5%, getting in there. They're expecting an adjusted EPS of $4.12 on top line revenue of $22 billion. Investors are keen to see if their cost cuts and their freight spinoff updates and how tariffs are affecting them. So that will definitely be one that's on watch today. Mentioned Hood here trading at 121.81. Nice move to the upside. Intel, along with the other chips, seen a nice move up 3% here today. You mentioned Lennar and some of the builders still under pressure, down about 1% leading into the open. Micron back up over to 255 here, so still moving to the upside. One that was down today is O Realty Income, one of Steve's favorite REITs out there. They are down about 64 basis points here this morning. Not really on news. They were cut to underweight from neutral by JP Morgan, so maybe that's what has it moving there. We do see Oracle finally starting to get a little bit of positive movement here, up about 2.5%, only erasing about half of yesterday's losses, though. And on that Darden news, we do see Shake Shack getting a nice little move to the upside, up 4.81% this morning. We are about 2 minutes from the open here. We do see it is a mixed bag still across the different sectors. We still see energy in the red. We see consumer staples in the red and healthcare in the red. So we do see that across here. And we are stalling out across the S&P in the Qs here as we get ready for the cash open. Question is, do we see a big push to the upside, or is this a sell the rip event? We'll find out here in just a minute or so. Nvidia now up 2%, so it's setting new highs here today. We are less than 1 minute away here from the open. Do see financials are up slightly here, being led by UBS up 2%, but we see JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo all slightly up. Market is open. First move is a slight downward move by the Qs, down about 1.5. Oof, it was volatility right there on the short-term chart we're seeing here. So a little bit of profit taken. First move is usually the wrong move, though. So let's see what we get here. Tesla trying to move to the upside here again. I am looking for a run to 500 today there. Microsoft 485, the key area to watch. If it can break through 485, it's got some serious room to the upside also. Tick is positive to start off with. Advanced decline moves up to that 4150 area. So we are seeing nice breadth across the markets. Dow opens up about 50 basis points here. It could bounce on the door of another all-time high here later today. If we can keep strength going, the S&P now takes a jump to the upside. Same thing for the Qs. Same thing, Bitcoin catching a bid here back above 89 here. Come on, baby. Let's get a little bit of strength going in the market today. We'd love to see a strong day leading us into the holiday weekend. That would be the way to look at it. You see a little bit of profit taking here on DJT and Micron, not surprising, the two big winners earlier. On the other hand, SanDisk moving to the upside here. Nice little chunk to the move to the up on the open here, up 11.15. And we do see Lululemon also squeezing a little bit to the upside, up about 8%. We do see strength moving right back in, tick positive 565. So we're seeing a nice move up by the VIX, nice move up by advanced decline. Q's now up 1.7%, getting close to back towards highs of the day, right around 611. Apple in the negative, everything. Oof, that's a big sell candle on Apple there. Moved all the way down from 274 to 271 on the open. And we are seeing a little bit of profit taken across everything except for Amazon still moving up to the upside here. Sorry, just taking a look at stuff here. For those that are looking, if they're in now, make sure you understand that Now had a 5-to-1 stock split today. The stock closed yesterday at 782.40, and this morning is priced at about 156. So don't want you to panic there if you are in service now. This is an expected split. We can see trading at 156.46 right now. keep that in mind. I do think that's going to freak some people out that maybe did not realize that. So we'll see what we get there. Dixie DXY continuing to slide to the downside a little bit here this morning. So seeing a little bit more weakness on the dollar after those CPI data came out. Not too surprising. Dow Jones has stalled out right around that 48,500 area. S&P is pulling back a little bit from highs of the morning, but again, very healthy to the upside there. Gold is holding up pretty well here, considering the markets are moving up so well. And again, Bitcoin struggling to break through that 89 area here definitely keeps you on watch. We do see Netflix and Apple have gone negative here, and we do see a brief stall across most of the high-flying names this morning. Apple continuing to slide to the downside here at 270, threatening the 50-day simple moving average here very much. Let's see if this can hold right below that 50-day, and you really got some downside probably back towards the 255 area. So Apple definitely under some pressure here. Tick is slowing down, getting closer to neutral here. So after that initial sell buying, we are seeing a little bit of a move to the other side here. Tick is coming back down towards neutral a little bit here. S&P, like I said, up 90 basis points, but we do see a little bit of a pullback here. So after that first move to the upside, we are seeing a little bit of a pullback. VIX staying in that 1650 area, though, leads me to believe we've got more upside in front of us today. If that does pick up, I will get a little bit more concerned of downward push. Rates are still 10-year dropped a little bit here today, down about 80 basis points. FedWatch is now pricing in much more of a chance for a cut in January. So good to see that. Nice move up by Galaxy Digital today, up about 4%. Micron, 261, baby. Still moving to the upside here, up almost 16% now, trying to make a run. So it is going to try to take the market up with it here. DJT holding up pretty well here. SanDisk continues to be the one that's showing strength here this morning. Lululemon seeing a little bit of profit taking. Western Digital continuing to see some strength here today. Hot 8, nice little move to the upside now, up about 10%. Another one of the Bitcoin mining data center plays out there. Symbonic, one of the ones that's been in the news lately, up about 6.43% here this morning. Do you see that Darden's given up most of those gains? So Darden was up nicely in the pre-market, now actually close to flat on the day. Do see a little bit of a bounce back by Instacart and Lennard so far this morning. Same thing. Accenture coming off of lows of the day. So we do see a lot of these pulling off of lows of the day. And the ones that were the high flyers are giving back a little bit of those gains. So it does look like it's a little bit of a mean reversion here so far. We'll see what we get as this plays out today. Okay, everybody, for Quasar Markets, that's going to do it this morning. Markets are looking strong, but it looks like a little bit of a sell-off here. I think we see some strength through the rest of the day. I will be back tomorrow morning to bring everything to you to get you set for your trading day.